Any questions?
A Word document, I mean, I did it in Word itself.
But yeah, just keep the format that all you do is, well, I'll talk to you about your specific things. Yes, sir.
Just probably again a refresh. The main thing's the outcome. If we tweak it, like you said, just make it fit the paper or homework, the main thing you want is the correct output, right?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
if it doesn't tell us to cast something, but we cast it, that's
Yeah,
gonna be
that's
correct.
fine. No, you do what makes sense
Okay.
in that case. Any questions?
I'm still having problems getting it to connect on my laptop.
You could talk with her
Okay.
about that.
I can do that.
But, that has to do with the way you installed it. And I got, I can direct you to somebody that can talk with that networking guy. So it should be able to help you. Okay. No questions?
On the first problem,
Yes, sir.
how do you know the bed type?
How do you?
You're supposed to put in the bed type identifier.
Okay, on the first one, okay, display the columns, okay, join, okay, they told you to do 4 tables, but you had to go up and do now 6 and 7, and the result table that includes bed number, bed type. Okay, the key thing, what you have to do, and as I indicated the last time, I can go out here by SQL Server and you create a database diagram. It's first order of business. And new database diagram. And yes. And I'm going to select all of it. And I'm going to come down here and select all of the tables. And so do that. And I'm going to add them. Add all the tables. And now it's got them all. I'll close that so I can get that. So, the bed type, right here, you can see as an example when they're looking for these things. So it says if I need to show the bed type, then I'm going to have to, the bed type table is going to have to be in the joint. And that's the way you tell them. Okay, and so that's a primary key identifier. You can see it with the little key there. Okay, probably the connection here. So the bed, okay, they have a specific beds in the hospital, but each one may be a. They have also a type associated with it. And in here, you'll see something that'll have bed type. Okay, that's going to be a foreign key that provides the connection. So that's going to be the join condition. And so, and then a patient is going to be in a specific bed. And then that bed is going to be in a specific room. And that bed, here's the ID of the bed, and here's a foreign key in there. Okay. And then here's our patient. We got a patient ID. It's going to be in, what's going to be the bed number he's in. So if we come down through here, there he is. So I think it was those, I believe it was those 4 tables you had to join up.
I got a question. When you join them up,
Yeah.
do you need to put the table with the primary key first when you do the on part?
No, doesn't make any
Okay, it doesn't
difference.
matter whether the primary key is first or the foreign key is first?
No.
It doesn't matter?
No, it's an equality join.
Okay,
So it doesn't make any difference, which side is which side.
okay.
usually I'll put them on the same one if I say, you know, typically I would have been, you know, if I'm looking at this diagram, just, because if you're looking at, you know, it's really revolving around the patient here. So I'd probably, I would have done something like, patient, join, and it's going to be in what bed? Okay. You know, on, and then I would have put, you know, it would turn out I'd use in this case, it'll be, you got to join on this condition here, so it would have been the foreign key that happened to be first. Okay? Because I'll just keep them in that same thing. Okay?
Okay.
That produces an intermediate table. So I'm going to go next to the room because I need, I may have to, I don't know if there was a room description or not. But I could have said, then join room. Okay? And then on. And it would have been, you know, the room ID and the bed in which that room is in. And then I could have said join. Okay? And then it would have been the bed type.
Does it matter what order you put the tables in?
Well, not really, because the compiler is going to decide what bed type. I just usually go from, you know, what I'm, you know. No, I could have done that join first, then that one and this one. The point is, that's not necessarily the way they're going to put them together. Don't forget, this is a
For inner joints, right?
Pardon?
For inner joints.
For inner joint, yeah, outer
Right,
joints are a little bit different.
definitely.
Yeah, yeah, we're talking inner joint. Okay, so you got bed type, you know, on. This is, you start with this diagram, and I can say, okay, I've got to go there. That's all the information I need. And the way as I described the last time, is create yourself that table. All of the things I've got to have in my output query, a list right here. And then across, what tables are they in, and that's telling me the table I got to join. Yes, sir.
Okay, so question 10 and question 16. Now, it laid out exactly what tables we wanted you to pull from.
Okay, let's see.
Now, question 10, it gave you 3 tables to pull the information from,
Right.
but then it made a statement 4 tables. All right, so when I read this question, I understand how to join the tables, create the query.
Okay.
I understood the question as asking, you know, are you able to identify what to do and what not to do? So, because there was not a 4th table, when actually the 4th table is patient receiving treatment, I answered the question, well, there's not enough information to connect all the tables, because there was not a join condition to join all the tables,
So they wanted you to
unless you
figure it out.
included
Yeah.
patients receiving treatment.
Well, they might have just, you know, put some words in there and they didn't do all that. Let me see what they did. And I say they because I didn't do the solution. I copied their solution. So let's see what they were thinking.
Yeah, they wanted you to figure out what the other
Yeah,
one was,
They
basically.
wanted you to
Yeah.
figure out
Okay.
the treatment.
And
treatment table.
Yeah, no, that going.
Sure, that joins all 3 of the tables. I understand that now.
Okay,
When I read
let's,
the question, I understood, I felt it was a trick question, that they were looking for, okay, do you understand the concept that you need
okay.
a joining condition to join all the tables?
That's not what I
So
want.
that's,
Let's go back here. Gonna go back here. SQL. Multi-table queries. I'm just gonna get the whole mining yards out there, copy. And go put it up here. Desktop, paste. Okay, and then, okay, now where am I at? Multi-table queries. And, table join. Program 2 solution. No, I don't want that. All right, so we're looking at number 10. And I'm gonna do that because then I can put it in. Okay, let's see. So I'm gonna go over here to the SQL Server, and I'm gonna get myself a new query, and I'm going to also get myself a view. Okay. Alright, what happened? Alright, let's go back here again. Copy. I probably did something I shouldn't have done that. Alright, so I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to come down here. Alright, and also I'm going to do a little options. Okay, I'm going to put fonts. And there's what, about 17. I think I can get it. All right, well. Okay. So we've got the patient joined on the treatment, and the staff who provided the service, and the service.
No, okay, I understand that now.
Okay.
Right. When I first read the question, I understood the question
Okay.
as they were wanting you to be able to identify that there was not a joining criteria with the tables that were listed.
Okay. All right. So
So I did not answer the question this way. I
Okay.
answered the question as, oh, there's not enough information to complete.
okay. Let's see if there was. And there probably is, and that's probably a good illustration that you can go back to this diagram, and then you can have to prove that to yourself. So we have we needed. Let's see. We need the patient's last name, the service description, the staff who did the service. That's the items we needed. Okay, and so let's go back to here. And, oh, I don't want to do that. Let's go back to my. I'm going to close that one down. Close that one down. Okay, this is what we want. And then view. I've got to get this open again. And so I'll look at. We'll look at that diagram again. There's the diagram. So see, I've already got it up here. All right. So let's start with the patient, okay? And so I've got the patient. That was one of the things I needed to have. And then we had the treatment, okay?
Never mind.
Okay. And we got the service. You needed that. What was the other item we needed? The prescription or patient note? Okay, that's going to the bed. I think these are four. These are the four that you needed. Is that correct?
You needed the staff.
Okay. Service. Okay. Where's the?
Yeah, you
I
needed
think
the
it's
staff.
The staff. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see now. Let's see. Let's see who's.
How do you know you need staff?
They asked
Because
for
it asked
staff
for it
ID.
specifically.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
you need the staff,
Here's the
first
staff.
name and last name.
Okay, looks like you got a, well, looks like we got a, oh, lovely. We got two ways to going into that. Let's see what makes the most sense. What do we have to have?
So my point on this is that treatment was not clearly laid out
Sorry.
as needing that table.
Yeah, I know,
Okay.
yeah,
So I understood.
it's fine, okay. So, so let's see, which one we're never gonna use, okay. Well, the treatment, okay, the treatment is by, this staff. So you had this link right here, okay. And so, yeah, it looks like what the intent was there to, see if you could come up with the other table. And the key here is to be able to go.
Because without the treatment table, you can't connect all four.
That's right. Yeah,
So
but it was, they did ask for specific information about the treatment, didn't they? Okay, let's see, patient name, okay, service description, okay, there's this, oh, that one was tricky, wasn't it? Okay, because they didn't have, you had to use the treatment table to get all the information needed, but there was no, they didn't ask you to list out the treatment.
They didn't give you.
Yeah, but if we refer the database diagram, and I guess they've given a hint that
Yeah.
it uses 4 tables.
Yeah, I didn't pick up the hint.
Yeah.
So I understood that they were just trying to see if you understand the concept that you need a condition to join the
Yeah,
tables.
yeah, you do have to have it, and sometimes you have that intermediate like that, and that's not an uncommon thing. There's a lot of, real databases which are somewhat
Probably more convoluted.
well, they shouldn't be convoluted, but they are, okay? And this one's not convoluted, they just, I would have thought, if I was providing that, what was, you got a service description, by the way, what's the treatment?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, don't worry about it, I'm gonna count off today. Other questions?
Mine's a little bit different, sometimes a little bit different.
That's all right.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
I do have a comment.
Yes.
And the content of this chapter and the next chapter are the difference of somebody making $40,000 a year and $80,000 a year. The people that master the joins and the group buy clauses are the people that make the big money. So
That's correct.
pay very, very good attention to these two chapters, because if you don't get this, then you will be a junior analyst instead of a senior analyst.
That's a good observation. And this is the essence. In fact, I think you saw my initial screen there, where it was data analytics. It's a dollar sign around that now. And so it is, you got to be able to master these diagrams. That's why I try to give you, just burn that thing in your brain, paste it on the wall, and then and you just have to go through those things. And quite often, there's more than one solution. So, anytime you have a question or something, you can ask me, or you can say, I'm going to go ahead and assume this, even though they didn't say that, but it makes more sense, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. You can make a little comment.
So, okay, how come on this question here, you use the correlation names?
Pardon?
On this question here, question 10, table join with correlation names was used versus.
I would always use correlation names because it's easier to work with.
Versus just create, because at the beginning of the slides, there's the join,
Right.
the table join, so you have table 1, join on table 2 on condition
Yeah.
1, join table 3 on condition 2.
Right. Usually, if you're talking about the lecture notes last week, that was just simply give you the concept without cluttering it up with the detail. The details is when you actually go to do real joins, you're going to use correlation names, particularly in databases like this one, which the foreign key and the primary key have the same name. and if I said primary key, whatever it is, equal foreign key, join on, and the compiler is going to come back and say this is ambiguous. And so it needs to know that you specifically qualified one of them that went from one table and one came from the other table, and it wasn't the same one. So that's essentially the correlation here. You know, using those correlation names is all about the mechanics of just doing the joins and doing them in real tables. But conceptually, no, I don't need them.
You don't need them even though you've got two databases that have the same name?
Yes, yeah. I go back and rephrase it. When you have a foreign key and a primary key that are using the same name, and that's your join condition, you have to have the correlation. But conceptually, that, you know, he was talking the difference between, I had a nice conceptual slide presentation, and then I talked about correlation names. The reality is, you're always going to use correlation names. If you're working, pardon?
No matter what, always.
I would say always. I mean, 'cause I assume you're going to work with some real databases that got 20 and 30 tables. You've got two tables, and the foreign key and the primary key matchups are not the same, and you don't need them.
So that's probably better practice just to use correlation.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, and it makes it easier to read, you know, what came from what. Yeah, that's kind of a rule of thumb.
See, the P and C kind of throws me, so I put the actual table name, you know what I'm saying?
Right, but what we're doing here is that, you know, it's correlating. So whenever I use P, I mean the patient table. Yeah.
Well, for me to follow the logic, I need to look at
I tell you what you can do. There's nothing, you can do that. What you do here, in this case, right here, I might say, what we got? You know, you can actually, instead of using the correlation names, you can say patient dot, whatever. That helps you out, do it. It's just a little more typing. But if it's clearer to you and the correlation names, you know, mess you up, then don't do it. Correlation names don't make it easy. The key point here is when I have a primary key and a foreign key and I'm using the same name, I got to qualify them, whether it's with the table name or with a correlation name. Correlation name is a nice convenience provided by the SQL Server language to make things a little easier for you.
Do you provide the answers to these?
I put them out there.
Thank you.
Just use them for yourself, don't pass them around.
No.
I usually wouldn't have problems with night students. Day students, you know, I have to be careful. Be on Facebook tomorrow. I'll post it. So you can try to compare what you did.
Yeah,
So in the real world, they use a database diagram.
Do they, are you asking me?
They have to.
Absolutely. I mean, that
One of the
was,
ways to do
in
it.
my previous life, my walls were covered with it.
Yeah.
Okay?
There's people whose whole job is creating stuff.
Oh, really?
How much do they make?
Database architects make quite a bit.
Yes, sir. And they're the ones that, you know, it says what this thing is going to look like, then you're going to populate. You're going to get a little exposure to it. You're going to design a database at the end, something close to it.
So does
Not
that
big.
come first?
Pardon?
Does that come first?
What's that?
The architect?
Yes, sir. Good, good. How, you know, how am I gonna organize these tables? And how do we put them together? Yes, we'll do that. We may do it, I think I got it set up for mid-semester time, you know, designing tables. You may have to design, I think you'll have to design something, maybe 8, 10 tables. Which is pretty substantial for a beginning class. So you're hoping, you're not hoping this week, right? All right, no more questions? There we are. Okay. Summary queries. We're not going to cover all the, I got several topics in here, we're not going to cover all those tonight, I just listed them in there, those will be things somewhere down the road. Foundation for data analytics, so all of the things you hear about data analytics, this is the foundation stuff. There's a lot of GUI, third-party software that does a lot of this stuff behind the scenes, and you can do it with a nice GUI interface. We're not going to do that here. No gee whiz, by golly. You're going to have to write the SQL. And that way you understand. So then later on, if you've got one of those nice packages, then you understand what's going on.
And then you would yell at them for having inaccurate clues.
Okay. Well, you won't have to worry about it now. You use that. I don't care whether you got the GUIs or not. I'll just crank it out by hand here. All right. So I'm gonna on the Mirage stuff. I'm gonna go through there pretty quickly because I've got another little database I'm gonna have you load up, and we're gonna use that because I got 5,000 records in that one. So we want to do some real stuff. And generate the records for you. So these are the kinds of questions I might encounter. This would be somebody will say, in accounting probably, how many unpaid invoices do we have? And of course all that information's in the database, and we have a mechanism for doing that. So then, and this mechanism is the first of our, what we refer to as aggregate functions. Okay, they're going to take a whole set of stuff and give you one number. That's what we refer to aggregating. Right. So we've got two types of aggregate functions to do counting. One is the number of rows selected by the query. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a query, okay, and it's going to count the number of records that were in the result set. We do that with this count function, referred to as count, and a star. Now, sometimes we're interested in specific information in a column. Okay? And we use this form here, which we refer to an expression. This expression could be, generally it'll be a column name, but it could also be a computed column, made up of other columns. And the thing here is it only counts the number of non-null values. In other words, if you got null values in there, it doesn't count those. So if you got a database loaded with nulls, then this is where the problem with nulls comes in, because now it could really skew my results. I know I got all these records, but gosh, something strange here, because it's counting some numbers in one particular column, and things don't really make a lot of sense. And it's because it's loaded with nulls. As opposed to this counts the records in the result set. So that's the thing that's going to give you, you've got to get used to it. It's the number of records that are produced. So nulls don't make any sense there. unless you had a row and all nulls, then you can't get those inserted anyway. Okay. So here's the example of the query. I'm going to count, and I'm going to call that as the number of unpaid invoices. When we use these functions like this, we have to use a label because it'll come back with that usual no name or expression or whatever it says. So here I'm going to, I've got a nice name I'm going to put up there. I've got spaces in there, so I put the brackets around there. And I'm going to get that, of course, that's from the invoices. And then this is the way I compute the unpaid invoice. The invoice total is still greater than the payment total, the number of payments you made so far, plus any credits we've applied to. Straightforward. And that would be the records in the results set. And it's simply going to count, it's going to give you one number. Squish out one so you can see this, and then, so if I do this one, Control C, and if I go into my SQL Server, and if I go here and do my, the Object Explorer, okay, I just need a new query, and I need to make sure it's the AP, and Control B. All right. Okay. So all these functions are going to show up here with this kind of a pink color. Okay. So it's going to count the number of records, and I'm going to end up with just a single number. Okay. There it is. Number of unpaid invoices, 40. Okay. If I listed all of those invoices, I'd have 40 records. It said, give me the invoice number of the invoice, unpaid invoices. There'd be 40 records. So that's what I'm counting. So that's what we want to know. We got 40 invoices. Okay? Any questions on that? You'll use that one a lot. Very, very common. Okay. All right. And you'll get a chance to run one of those on the bookstore, because the bookstore will kind of do all of those things together on that. Okay, so what does the total do of all the unpaid invoices? That'd probably be the next question, How much? We have to cough up here and get all these things paid. Okay. So that kind of answer can be answered with what's referred to as the sum aggregate function. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sum up those 40 records, the value of the unpaid invoice. Okay. And in that case, it's going to be that expression. So it's not going to be just one column. It's going to be the total expression in there. And it would look something like that. Okay. So here's the case that the expression is invoice total minus payment total minus credit total. Okay, that's how much is still unpaid. And I'm going to put something in here, total amount due, or whatever you like that makes sense. Okay. And same criteria here. Okay. Same table. So we got a mechanism for counting things, and we got a mechanism for summing, yes.
Why do you have to put parentheses around the bottom of the top one as far as addition, subtraction, and this thing? So why wouldn't?
You mean did I need to do that? Because what I've got here is that this right here, I may not have to do that. The compiler may say, I understand, I'm going to do the arithmetic operation first before I do the relational comparison. I just do it for my visual, because otherwise I'm going to look there and is that invoice greater than payment total, then plus? Well, that wouldn't make any sense.
What was your question?
Her question is, why do I put the parentheses around here and I didn't do it up here?
But you did it up there.
Well,
Well,
I,
there's not an additional set of
well, I have to have,
parentheses. One is
careful, Richard. Here, remember the syntax for the sum operation. Now let's back it up instead of writing that. Okay? It says, I'll have the keyword sum, set of parentheses, the expression goes in there. So that's a different thing. That's required by the function. This right here is just my visual convenience. Okay? I don't have to do it.
Yes, but if you did it up at the top, wouldn't it be redundant?
I would have no reason to, I mean, I could, but I'm not sure why. I could have put it around that and just simply go ahead and do this. In this case, what it would do is it would actually do the subtraction of payment total from credit total, and then do the invoice total and subtract that result because of the precedence. Because that's an arithmetic expression. This right here, I've got an arithmetic expression, but I've only got, a binary, 2 operands. When I got 3 operands up there, I can say, in this case, they're going to go in left to right. But I can say, well, I want to do this for some reason.
So that's going to subtract.
It's going to take the invoice total, and it's going to subtract the payment total, and it's going to subtract the credit total from that result.
Okay.
Whereas the bottom one, if you didn't have the parentheses, would it do the comparison operator against
No, it
payment
doesn't,
total?
because of the precedence, arithmetic operations are done first. I think
Right.
Renee has probably already done that.
I wouldn't feel comfortable
Yes.
trusting that.
Okay, good. I didn't need the parentheses, is that right?
Oh, I added parentheses at the top, and I determined that.
Oh, you did, okay, yeah.
Where would you put them on the top?
I put an additional parentheses in front of invoice total, and then at the end of payment total. So I put the difference of inventory total and payment total, and then subtracted credit total.
Okay.
Just to see when
She
you break
just,
it.
no, I don't do that. It's just a matter of order of precedence.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you some questions.
No, I
Maybe we can do
no
it in a minute.
stupid questions.
Is the sum function really needed in that first line? I realize we're learning about aggregates and stuff there.
Well, if you got an alternative, I'd like to know about it.
Well, we can do it in the where clause, but we can't do it in the select statement.
But, I mean, okay, careful. You're asking me, can I sum somewhere else?
Well, we're allowed to do the addition in the where clause, that's sum.
Yeah,
But we
it
can't
has-
do that in the select.
The sum tells it all records, right? If you didn't have a
Okay.
sum, it wouldn't do all the records, right? It
Oh,
would
the
all
sum
be-
of all, okay.
Okay,
Yeah, we're good.
yeah. No, what you want to do is, what you have to look at these aggregates is, what you're doing here is that sum is, this is a key point, that's doing things last. What happens first is, I've got my source here. If I had a join, the join would be done first, okay? Then I've got to filter things out.
Okay.
So what I filtered out was the unpaid invoices. Okay, so I got my 40 records that I counted earlier. Now, I'm gonna go sum those. That's what that does. That'll be important because we're gonna do that in the grouping, and we're gonna, grouping stuff is gonna take place first. That sum operation is going to be the very last thing that's done. Aggregates are the last thing that are done. Because once I've performed the aggregate, I've lost everything. Because you have now condensed it to one number. I still had my set right here. When I say set, I've still got my record set, my result set. But as soon as I do an aggregate on it, everything is gone. Because my new table is one record, one column. That was the sum. Okay? Is that clear? Very important, that order. Okay. What does the average amount do for all of them? Got an average expression. Well, guess what it's doing? Well, I didn't really need this, because all it's going to do is use the previous sum function and divide it by the count. Pardon? All right. So, but this is convenient. So, we don't want to have to do that sort of thing. So well, there we are. Looks just like the sum, except now I do the average. But it's also going to do a count in there. It's going to do a sum and then a count. And again, the where clause is the thing that's executed first. So that gives me the record set. Then it's going to do the count. And hold that in place. And then it's going to do the sum. Now it's got two values. And then it's going to go ahead and divide the sum by the count. And I'll give you your average. It's in that order. What does the largest and smallest amounts do for all the unpaid invoices? Which one is the big one? Which one is the small one? Maximum and minimum. And we're going to do both of those in the same query. And in fact, we could have done count, we could have done sum, average, min, and max, all in one query, just listed across. Okay. Okay, so we have lowest non-null value. Okay, nulls are not counted. Don't make any sense. It's entry, no entry. So it's going to be the lowest non-null. They just make that a nice, qualifier, and the largest. Okay. And just like that. And again, this is done first. So I got 40 records. And now I'm going to go down through that unpaid invoice amount and say, which one's the biggie, which one's the little one. And then I'll display it back. And I've heard one pundit say that, 85% of data analytics is counting, summing, finding the averages, and grouping. Yep. And then probably the other 15% is the more esoteric descriptive statistics that we might get into a little bit later if we can pick up the time. Okay? All right? Questions on it?
The null value comes into picture only when we say count star.
The null doesn't come into the picture at all if we use count. So all I'm doing is I'm looking at that where clause. How many records did I get back? Now count them. Okay. But if I'm looking at a specific column, then I'm counting the non-null values in it. That may not match the number of records. Okay? If there's no value. Okay. Any other questions? You got a lot of power now. Now we're going to add some more to it with some grouping stuff. Now, what I'm going to do, so you can get a feel for how to work with this thing, I'm going to show this to you first, and then I'm going to put it out there so you can do one yourself, and then we're going to follow along with some of these groupings, because then it'll make a lot more sense. What I have out here let me do the SQL Server. I got a bookstore database. Okay, and I'm going to do a couple of things so we get a feel for it. And if I look at the, let's do this first. So if I look at bookstore database, I got 3 tables. And I got the table of books, I got the table of stores, okay, and I've got the table of sales. And I'm going to do, I'm going to like that. Okay, I'm going to delete that out of there. And I'm going to do select. Star from sales. Okay, all right, thank you, got it. All right, and it's going to list me 5,000 records. This is going to look strange, and then we'll explain. So I'm going to exercise, okay, and there it is, 5,000 at the bottom. Okay. First one in here is going to be my transaction number. You know, you went to the store and you bought something. Okay, that was the transaction. What store ID did you buy it from? So I got a store ID. And I got an ID for the book. Now this is a nice simple contrivance. And then I've got the quantity of books in that particular book you bought. So we're gonna use this simple example to do some of our queries. Let's look at the database diagram so that you can see how these things are connected and what's in there. So I've got a database diagram up here already, and I don't need that. Where's my database diagram? I'll just click on it. Did I already put it out there?
I didn't find it.
You didn't find it? Where'd I put it?
I see a folder for, bookstore database.
Yeah, okay, did I put it out there?
Yeah, it's in your
Okay,
summary.
all right. You just jumped ahead,
Right.
wasn't paying attention, you're up there goofing around in the
Oh, yeah.
stuff.
So do we need to copy the field and the,
Yeah,
calculated?
I was gonna just show something and then and then we'll do it.
Okay.
I'm trying to, thought I had it. Where's my diagram? I did.
I think that was for Riverbend.
Maybe I lost it. All right, well, no, I know what I did. I'm wrong. I did it in my office.
Oh.
Okay. That's not gonna fly here, okay? Man, I just got you doing it, I know I did. All right. All right. Simple, all right? So what we've got here is, you know, the stores here is gonna be the ID and the name of the store, okay? And then I got the book and the book category. All right. So let me present the the picture here first. I got it here. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we got just a little scenario here of the Southwest Bookstore sellers, Windrock, Old Town, and Rio Rancho. They sell only 4 categories of books. Okay, so I've contrived this. They'll sell computer books, business, fiction, and history. Okay, and handles 5,000 sales transactions. So I've created a table for one month's sales transaction. Okay, and so we're going to use this for our little grouping study.
Those are all Albuquerque locations.
They are.
Yes.
And so if you go out to the iDrive, okay, you go out to the iDrive, we'll get everybody up and running here, and then where's the iDrive? Right here. And if I got right here, all right. Okay, what you do is you create yourself a new database, and the first thing you do is open up that query and you build the tables. Then you populate it. And Jerry, what you did is you ran it, that populate generator twice. So you're going to get 10,000 records. Now you ran it twice. That's the only way you're going to get 10,000 records in there. You got to insert them. Okay. This one inserts 5,000. Okay. All right.
So we save it to the C drive?
Yeah, pull it off. You can pull it on the desktop or the C drive. Yeah, don't open it up on here. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that. So you create a new database like that, and call it Bookstore. Okay, I'm not going to do that because I've already got one. Okay. All right. Oh, I'll just do it. I'll just do another one here. Okay, new database. We're going to call it Book Store number 2. Where's it at? Summary query, bookstore database, and I'm just say open up the build tables. Okay, so if I look in here, say use bookstore 2, but that's what I'm going to. Yeah, so I'm going to create the stores table. I'm going to create and insert the records there. And I'm going to create the books table and insert the records here. And then I'm going to create the sales table. And notice what the sales tables are. It's really got one primary key, and I don't have to call it that. And it's got really 2 foreign keys. So those are going to be the things that match up with my table. And then I got the quantity. So if you execute this, okay, what did I do? Did I already do that once? Yeah, okay. I executed it twice. So in that case, it's just gonna burp on me.
Well, you were still in the bookstore, not bookstore, so.
Oh, God. All right. That's what I get when I'm trying to talk. All right, so here I am. Okay. So it didn't let me do that. Okay. I messed up my bookstore. Let me go back and see if I did any damage. Wonderful. I think it took care of me. All right, so that looks good. All right, so here I am, bookstore two, and I want to be in bookstore two. All right, and now I'll execute. Better. Okay. All right, so now if we look down here, I've got my tables. Thank you. Hide myself. All right, now we got my tables. Better. Okay, they're empty. So I'm going to close that. No, I don't save it. And then I'm going to open up, populate the sales table. Okay, open.
Error messages.
Okay. Yeah, comment out that use statement. That's probably it.
Oh,
Yeah.
you don't have the exact
Yeah.
Yeah, then I got
Just,
it.
just make sure you got the bookstore two there. You know, these should run off. I've used a random generator to generate my numbers, okay? And so now I execute that, and I displayed it out, and I got 5,000 records. Okay. Okay. Well, just kind of follow along with it now, because I'm gonna, so at least I'm gonna give you a, all right. So, okay, are we ready to get going?
Am I supposed to copy both of these?
Yeah, but I'm getting so many errors.
Why don't you comment out?
Then what am I supposed to do? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
What are we supposed to do after we copy to the desktop?
Pardon?
We copy 2 files to the desktop, right?
Yes.
And then what do we do?
Open them up and execute.
Okay. It doesn't matter which order we...
Well, yeah, because you got to build the tables first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you build the tables first.
Am I doing this right? I don't think so.
Actually, you're supposed to create a new database first.
That's what I thought.
And you need to name it bookstore.
Bookstore DB, right? Because that's what it's telling us to use, Bookstore DB.
You don't have to do that, you can comment that out. Okay, I'm going to get started, and then you'll have some time to work with this afterward. So I think at least most of you are up. All right, so now we can start to ask ourselves some questions. We're going to go back and do basically the summing thing again. And how many books did we sell last month? Okay, and so now you could run. This one was straightforward. Total books sold from sales. Okay, and so you can type that in and see what you get. Let me get mine up here, and I got something out here. Where's mine?
Okay.
You got it?
Well, it ran, but it has 0 rows.
Okay, that's
Is it supposed to have 0 rows?
I don't know. I didn't do that.
It says query executed successfully. What's that?
The build tables doesn't return
Oh.
values, it just creates the table.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
The other
Then I open this one.
I mean, oh, save
And,
myself some trouble here.
Use bookstore again
Desktop.
and execute. And I get 5,000 rows. Yes, that worked.
Okay.
Wow.
So I'm gonna go back out here, and I'm gonna go populate, open, and do that one. and say
You're-
okay.
That's capitalized.
That's lowercase. I think that makes a difference.
This one?
And let's
You have a capital B and a lowercase b. I think those have to match, but I'm not sure. Would be my first guess. If you change this to a lowercase b, I think it'll run it.
Get rid of that thing. Out. Okay.
I changed the other one to uppercase.
And then we'll, all right. From sales. Well, what the heck is going on here? Yeah. Let's go with it. Yeah, 'cause we,
It says bookstore DB, and you've got to call bookstore.
I commented that out. What on earth is going on?
Might be
You want to be a
bookstore
bookstore too?
I populated bookstore, because we did it right at the beginning. I showed the record.
You didn't get the,
It didn't get populated.
yeah. I didn't know when I didn't have populated, so.
Probably tried it.
I'm gonna go ahead and start, let's see if this was closed. All right, you're right. Okay, and, all right, so we had 9,986 books. All right.
Is bookstore electric queries out on the drive somewhere?
Yes, sir.
I had mine.
No, you won't have those out there. I did that just to help myself out.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, what was the average number of books sold in a transaction?
Different numbers.
Okay, and that'll be the average. I'm gonna go
Oh,
through,
is that what it is?
through. You get it up or you? Okay. And then, now, let's look at this one, because this is gonna be a new concept. Give me a report that shows the total number of books sold by each store. Okay. All right, so now we're going to add a couple of actually a new clause in here. And this is going to be the group by. So what this does for us is it allows us to actually group our result set by some criteria in our group by list, and then we'll do the sum in our particular case, or whatever is required in the select list. So, yeah, look at that example. Okay. In this case, we'd have select name, okay, and the sum. Okay, remember that's going to be an individual aggregate for each group. And now we've got to join our stores, because we want to have the name of the store, because we'd like to be able to identify that. Okay. With our sales table, and we joined on our store ID. In this case, I didn't use correlation names, but I did have to use the names of the tables. Okay. All right. Now, here's our new group by clause. The name here, I don't have to have that up here. But one of the things we have to have in the case of when we have an aggregate up there, that's the only thing I can have in my select list, except when I have a column name that's in the group by clause. If I didn't have that in the group by clause, it's going to come back and say, that's not valid. And so what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to identify our aggregates that are with each of the stores.
So your group by statement has to have one of the column IDs that are in the select.
No, actually, no. I don't have to do that. But it wouldn't, I'd have 4 numbers, but what belongs to what? What you have to have is, if I have that name there, it's got to be in the group by clause. It's the other way around.
So if you had book up there, then you had that book group by.
Yeah, book wouldn't fly. Unless I had it in the group by, what?
Right. Yeah, just as an example, whatever you're using and select to identify that as the some of
Right.
has to be in the group.
It has to be in the group by, yes, sir. Okay. Okay. All right. And I'll get it in there. So, I've got, I'm going to blank that out. And we'll do this one right here. Let's just go and do the first group by here. Where's my first group by? Okay, this one right here. And let's undo that. Okay, and then we can execute it.
Okay.
Okay.
So all what it's doing is it takes the sum from each of the bookstore,
Okay.
aggregates it.
Okay, careful. There's an order here. And when we look at this group by, what it's doing is, the first thing it's going to do, it's going to do the join. I've got an intermediate table. Behind the scenes, it's going to do a sort. Okay. And it's going to sort on name. Makes sense, doesn't it? Okay. And so I now have a table, and I've sorted, and I had I forgot how many stores did I have? 4?
3 years.
3 stores?
Yeah.
Okay, and you could tell they were sorted, right? Because it had, I got all the old town here, and then I had the Rio
Rancho
Rancho
and Windrock.
and the Windrock. So I now have this set of 3 groups. Now it's going to apply the sum to that group. It's going to apply the sum to that group. And then it's going to apply the sum to that group. That aggregate is always going to be done last. Because now I've lost everything. Okay. Everybody follow that? So it automatically does a sort for me, and you can say, yeah, sure enough. I didn't order them that way. It has to, it's the logic, that's the way it's going to, I'm going to sort them, and then I'm going to go down here and, parse them out. Sum it up. Any questions on that? So that's how it's gonna work behind the scenes.
So it doesn't, group by is not really similar to order by.
No, no. Order by is just, that would have done the sort, okay, on the final result set. Now, what this is doing, it's gonna go ahead, it actually did a sort, but now I've partitioned it
Oh, okay, I see.
by the name so that I can now perform the aggregates on here. I can perform other aggregates, like average, min, max. I can count.
Right, well, I was just wondering, the reason I asked that, is had them in alphabetical order.
Right, but they're in alphabetical order because the original sort. So they're just going to say, I'll do the aggregate for that, display it out. I'll do the aggregate for that, display it out. I'll do the aggregate of this, display it out.
Okay.
Just going to go right down top to bottom.
How did you originally fix what you had? You got it null before? I had to change it to.
I didn't populate tables before, and that's back to. I did it on my desktop, and I keep thinking I did the same thing here, and I didn't do that here. Okay. Yes.
So it's just if we didn't use the group by and the name for this query, so would we get store totals, which is the sum of all the?
You'd get all of them.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I did the group by so I could see, answer the questions what I really was doing there.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Where we at? Golly, we got a lot to go yet. All right. All right. And so there was the result set. Okay, now.
So should all our result sets be the same number?
No, they won't be. And the reason is in fact, each of you may have different numbers because I generated the records with a random generator. Okay, rolling the dice. Okay. Okay, but they ought to be fairly close. There ought to be kind of a uniform distribution because the random generator produces equally likely outcomes. All right. So. Yeah, that's a good point. Everybody said, oh man, I got the right answer right here. Okay. You didn't get that one? All right. All right. Show me the bookstores that had books total exceeding the monthly goal of 4,300 books. So that's where we're going to have another clause, the having clause. Okay, now this is going to give you some heartburn because the having thing is going to be filtering on groups. Okay, the where clause filters rows in the original result set. But after I aggregate, there's no more where clause operation. So now I have this group of things. I can use the having clause to determine which groups to filter out. So if I go back to my question, okay, we look at a show me the stores that had book totals exceeding monthly goal of 33,000 books. So what we had to do is do the query we had the last time, except now we're going to add a having clause that only filters out those who met the monthly goal and reward the manager with a bonus. Everybody following that? Okay. So, key point here is don't mix them up. The where is always done before any aggregates are done. The having is done after the aggregates. Okay, it's on the groups. So our solution is now, and usually it's going to be on what's going to participate is going to be an aggregate function. Yes.
Can you do that with the rest of the select?
Can I do it with the nest? There are probably several things that we can do. Yeah, no, you can do that. So, there's more than one ways to do that. We'll talk about subqueries the next time. That's really what you're doing there. So this was the query we had previously, and then I just added the filtering on there. So if you added on the filter, and I'm not going to run that one, then Rio Rancho and Windrock were the in my version here was the winners. Now that may not necessarily be the case on yours because these were random generators, and that did be. And so the Old Town got left out. Okay, go back up to this. Any questions on that?
So the having is kind of like a wear clause.
You can think of it, it's a filter. Okay, you know, when you think of it, if we back up here, this filters out rows, the where, from a result set. That's the original records. After we've grouped, in other words, you can't have a having without a grouping. Wouldn't make any sense. Okay. Then you can filter out the groups. So we had 3 groups, okay, and we filtered out the 2 that were that met the goals. And in this particular, in my particular case here, now that may not necessarily be. Old Town may have been in there. They might have all been in there. I don't know. Okay. Okay. Any questions on that? All right. All right. So we can do some more analysis here. Give me a report that shows the total number of books sold in each category. Okay, so we have 4 categories of books. Okay. Okay, so we select category, and then we do the sum. Okay, and then we're going to do the join, then the group by. First thing that happens is the join. So I'm going to join the books on sales, and it's going to be on the book ID if you look on your database diagram. And I should have used it. Oh, I got category ID or cat. I'll have to see what we did on that one. I thought we would spell out the name on that, and then the sum. So. Pardon? Okay. Okay. Category. I just had a short name for it there. Okay. Right. So again, what it does, it went and sorted. Okay. You'll note the order there. It's sorted, and they sort it in one result set. Then they go and break it up. Okay. And that's the grouping part, and then it does the aggregates on each one. Yes.
Why does the group by item make you go by the original column name and order by go by whatever you pass that? Because you can't say group by category, you have to say group by cat. So why does
I did group by cat because that's, if we go back, we have to, remember when we do a group by, that's being applied on the database. The category, that name on there was a label. Okay, now the reason for that, if I go back up, I'm going to try to find my diagram. Here's my diagram. Okay.
Because the order by will go by what
Cat.
the database goes by what your results set is.
That's right.
Okay.
When you look at remember what order by does, it operates on the final result set. Your final result set knows about the label. Okay? That's all.
So the cat was named category in the books, that would use category.
Yeah, if I had used, or is that, if I'd have used category in there, fine. I didn't do, I used cat. Okay. Pardon?
Track.
Okay. Oh. All right. And then, so, that's just another way of looking at it. And in this case, we had to do 2 joins. Because we asked for the name of the store, okay? Give me a report that shows the total number of books sold in each category within each store, okay? So we're gonna group by the store and then group by the category. All right? And again, what it's gonna do is this first one, it's gonna sort by the store. Within the records in the store, it's gonna sort by the book category. So your grouping is gonna have it's gonna be further partitioned. I'll just do one of them because it starts to get out of hand here. But you know, if I have the total table, if we look at the total table, and the first one is it'd be Old Town. Old Town would then be partitioned again into 4 categories, and I think, well, I had business books, computer books, history, what else?
Fiction.
Uh-oh. F comes before, okay? So it'd be fiction and history. Okay. And I'd have the same thing repeated for
Windrock.
well, the next one would have been Rio Rancho and then Windrock, okay? And then our result set would look like this, okay? Now our result sets are not that pretty stuff you get with some report generators. It's pretty crude, but you can see what it's doing. So in this first column, I'm going to do Old Town, okay? That makes sense. There's business, computers, fiction, and history. I didn't have to do that ordering. The group by did that for me. Okay. And then the Rio Rancho, same thing. And then the Windrock. So you can see the generator is pretty doing a pretty good job of giving me a uniform distribution, even over a small sample set. 5,000 is a small sample set.
What if you switched the order on that? That'd be great. Try and did category first.
Perfectly good question, because now I'm interested, you know, in the book categories first. Okay, I'd have the book categories, and then I'd have stores within the categories. So I'm interested. I might want to report. I said, you know, I'm interested in the business books that were sold, okay. And then who sold the most in the businesses, and how could I have ordered that? And let's tell you what. Let's do something. I may have already done it. You may have been reading ahead, because I think I'm going to get some grand totals there. Somebody usually asks me, can we have grand totals? Of course. All right, so let's go back here. Where's my queries? And let me pull this all the way down here, and let me take this out. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and do this, and then, and we're done with that. Group by name, okay, name cap, okay, this is the one we're interested in. Okay, let's do something here, okay. Where's it at? Oh. All right, instead of me trying to do that. I don't think I need that order by clause. I'm gonna leave that out. See why I did that. Okay. And then I'll uncomment it. Okay. And, you know, like that. Yeah. I'm gonna do it anyway. Alright. Alright. So here let's look at our result set. I keep getting two. Records. Well, okay. So there it is, Old Town Business. Okay, I didn't need that order by clause in, I'm not sure why I put it in. Not necessary. All right, now let's suppose I change this around. I still got to do the same join, but I'm going to put cat first, and then I'm going to put name in here. Name. Okay. And then I'm going to put and I'm going to do cat and name. Okay. So, in this case, you know, from the person that, you know, wanted the report, his view was, I want to see, you know, that's the most important in the stores within the books. Okay. So we just merely change that. So what the compiler is going to do now is break things up into categories, then break them up by stores, and then sum on each of those subcategories is what it's really doing. Okay, and so we'll execute that. Okay, and there we are. Oh, I did have to do the order by. So that was the reason. They may do something a little bit different because that didn't give me the, you know, I got the right grouping. I mean, it's doing the right thing, but I needed to get it ordered by so that I get it next. So the order by was necessary here. So when I start doing two of them, it doesn't work out like it did when I just had one grouping. I didn't have to worry about that, and that's just the way they apparently do that grouping. I would have thought they would have done it like this is my logical view over here, but they don't quite do it that way. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and execute this again, and then I get a report that, you know, made a lot more sense, you know, for reporting. Okay. Clear for everyone? Yes? No?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
But could you switch that around, order by name and cat?
I could, but it wouldn't make a lot of sense in this because what I really, was, yeah, because what I really want to do is I'm really interested in the way I've ordered, the way I've constructed the query is I'd like to see my category, but let's see. All right. Now, let's step it up with a new one. Give me a report that shows the total number of books in each category within each store and with store subtotals and grand total. We'd probably like to see something like that now, because we just had the detail. All right. We got the roll-up operator. This is kind of the thing you think of it. I'm gonna roll up the subtotals here. Okay, I got okay, roll up the subtotal and put out something. And roll up the subtotal, put it out something, and then finally the grand total. And that's doing the same thing with the group by, except we'll just put on that additional clause and it'll do some extra things for us. Give us subtotals and grand total. And it doesn't come out, super pretty now, but it does at least give me the numbers. Okay. So we're going to add a summary row for each group specified. It also adds a summary row at the end of the result set that summarizes that result set. That's the one. So in this case, here's our same query. In this case, we're going to do it by store and then by category, the sum. And we got the joins on 3. Name, category with roll up. And this case, I did the descending. I'm not sure why I did that other than just to describe we could do it that way. I'm not sure why I did that now. Let's go ahead and see what we've done. All right. And I've kind of highlighted here so that you can see it, and then you can, because I prettied this one up a little bit. So what you would see here, in this case I'm doing Windrock. I don't know why, I just did it backwards just for the grins. Well, actually I didn't. Okay, what it's going to do here, this is the outcome on that roll-up, so it's not really pretty. So what it does is that when I have a subtotal, there will be a null in this category column.
Can you cast the null as total?
No. And that doesn't make any sense. What you're wanting to do is you're wanting to do a name substitution on that. We can do that. But I don't know what that is off the top of my head. But we'll. It's going to be in the. It's going to be in chapter 8 with all those gee whiz by golly functions. Right? It eludes me right now. I may have it in here. I just don't know. But yeah, that's always somebody wants to have more pretty stuff. Nulls would look great to me. But now the reason I had to do the descending is because that null is going to be sitting up at the top.
Oh.
And I don't want that. I want the subtotal showing up at the bottom like this. So I had to do that. That's some of the clever stuff you have to do. So but when I do that, I get something that looks reasonably nice.
Why is that null in there?
Because what you've got is detail here, Richard. But now I've got a subtotal that's on Windrock, but there's no category there, so I've got to have a placeholder for it because that's in the output. Okay, so it substitutes a null. And I got a total for the Windrock store. Then I've got a total for the Rio Rancho store. Then, when there's two nulls, okay, now you can use that information to do further analytics on that, because now I can search for grand totals and subtotal amounts and do things. And then I've got our grand total. Okay. All right.
So it automatically does a grand total at the end?
Yep. So I did it. You can see it here. It's a lot nicer now. I'll run one in the server here. But you can see it's not. It doesn't give you this nice picture like this. But this is the intent now, because now you can highlight that. But we do have to deal with the nulls, and that's why I have to do that sort by descending, because if I don't, the grand total is going to show up at the top, and all the subtotals will be right after that. And that's probably not what you wanted, was it? You wanted something that would look like this. And so I think if we run that query that way, then we'll get that same topology, but it won't be highlighted nicely like that, of course. Yeah. And so I'm gonna let me get that out of there.
It also doesn't say grand.
Yeah, it also doesn't say grand total, but Renee's doing a little research on that. She's gonna want to put that in there. Okay. And so I'm going to do this very carefully. Oh, that's why I'm getting that second table now, because I got a live query down here. That's why. No wonder I'm getting strange results. Okay, I want to do this. Undo that. Okay, I want to come up here. Okay. And I hit this one right here. And I want to put that now. Okay. And I've got some other, okay. I think I've got the gee whiz by golly here for you. It's ugly. Okay. Well, we'll save that one. Let's do the other one first. Okay. You know, I have to go back and see what I did there, because they were. Running behind this week, I usually review this stuff before I get up here and start talking. Well, it looks like I'm winging it. All right, so here we are, and so you have to look down through here, and there's the Windrock, there's the null stuff. Doesn't give you that nice red highlighting. Okay, and then Rio Rancho comes down here, and there's the next one, and then Old Town, and then here's the grand total. If I take out this, okay, backspace. Okay, and I take out this and run it, it gets the stuff out of order, and you see what it does right here. See, the nulls show up at the top up here, the grand total is at the top, and then the grand total for Old Town shows up, or the subtotal shows up first with the detail afterwards. And you kind of think, gee, it's generally not the way you see a report. Usually it shows the detail, the subtotals, and about the grand total. And the way to rig that back up is to do the descending in there. So that's why we do the descending.
Typo.
What did I do? PBS. Okay, the descending, and then the descending. Okay. And then if we execute that, and then we get something that looks a little bit better. Okay. Questions, comments? Yes, sir.
What if category was indeed null? Would it put it into the sub, like if, you understand what I'm saying?
No, I think maybe,
If a book didn't have a category assigned to it,
okay, no, that, you'd have to have that.
okay. So it would just exclude that from your results then? Or would you get an error? I can research.
Yeah, no, I think it would probably,
It was something
No, or
it may have a no, it may you could run an example, and I think it would run it in, I think it would show up as a null category, but that would, unless you have something in mind, that wouldn't have been a natural thing here.
Okay. Okay.
You know, if you go back and look at the, you know, if I go back and look at my my table or my diagram, you know, I've already got that, you know, I'm not gonna have a category in here that says, you know, that, and I didn't have an entry in it. Basically, that's what you say. I have a place for category, but it has no entry.
Right.
And if I didn't have one, you could find it. And I think probably it would show up. It actually, null is that actually might be a legitimate value, particularly if that's a character field. But it would be an indication that you got an error, so you say, yeah, I got to put it in there.
I mean, out there in the real world, like if we started to carry romance novels and the folks that maintain the books table didn't add that category, it does happen out there.
Right, no, that's a good observation. But then you would actually remedy that before.
Okay. we
I'm
take care of
assuming that you would do that. You said, well, I'll just turn it to the boss and say, well, I don't know which one that belongs to.
Okay.
Yeah, so, no, that's a good observation. All right. Next one. Okay. All right. I think I've got another thing using something referred to as the grouping function. Okay. Let's back up. I think this will answer the earlier question. When we put a name in this function, we must have one of the columns in the. I have to review myself here. Okay. Okay. Give me a report that shows the number of books in each category within each store, subtotals, and a grand total. But can you label the total? Which was an earlier question. And there is a grouping function that allows us to do it. Okay. And when we have we're not doing cubes here, we're going to do the roll-ups, and when we do this, of course that's where the null values are assigned. And what we want to do is, when you have that null value, we want to use, we want a way of replacing that with a name. Okay, so here's the way it works. We got a grouping function that returns a value of 1, or otherwise it returns a value of 0. Okay, so we'll use this with the case, and it returns a value of 1. You assign a value other than null to the column. Okay. And so I've got an example here. Okay, and here's and then we'll run this one. So, yeah, you build in and this is a different statement, so we're just taking it as is, and we're going to come back to the case statement. So we have a case statement here, and it's when the grouping name, and that's, in this case, name, is 1, then we'll then that'll be in that grouping column. When we had the name dot, we'll put in that to be the grand total. And when it's category, we'll then use the term total. Okay, so that we'll get that nice name for it down there. And so I'm gonna, I'll just run that so we can see that, because I got an example here. The rain? Sure sounds like it.
Sure hope so.
Man, when it's coming down that hard, I don't want to be in the parking lot. Okay, let me,
Today early if it is. Supposed to
let's
start
tonight.
at 3 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right at the start of the balloon festival.
I think you're wrong. It's starting at 9 o'clock tonight.
I'll take it when I can get it.
It's supposed to be over by Saturday morning.
Yeah, but
It's supposed to.
I don't care about Saturday morning. I'm caring about when I'm walking out of here tonight. That's the only time I'm thinking of it.
We always have bad weather on the balloon festival. I don't know why they had that thing in September.
It's good. I just got bad weather when he must have left the convertible down. You don't do that. All right. Let's do this. Okay. This is the same one we had before, except now we're gonna have this new function in here that when it encounters null in the name column, it's going to substitute the word grand in there, and then when it encounters null in the category column, it's going to substitute total. So in our subtotals, we're going to have a total, and then in our grand total, we're going to have something that says grand total. Okay. It's not perfect, but it is. It's better than what we have, and it's a little bit kludgy. Okay, so we'll execute that. Okay. So, so here we are. We got Twin Rock total, okay, and then we got Rio Rancho total, and then we got Old Town total, and then we got Grand total. Yes, sir.
What's the, I might have missed it, what's the equal one mean?
Okay, it's when, what happens here is that when there is a, it returns a 1 if there's a null in that column. Then I'm going to substitute grand in there, okay? Another case, when the grouping category returns a 1, there's a null in that column. And then I'm going to substitute total in there. And so, and I've got the nice picture here as to what it should look like. Okay, and so you've got to look at it like this. See? So when it does this after I've done the grouping. Okay, and so now it's looking at this record right here. It says there's a null there. And I said, okay, what we'll do is we'll substitute a total in there. Okay? And when I get down here, the Rio Rancho, that had a null there, I'll substitute total. That's what the grouping function does. Now, and same thing here. Now when we had the grand total, we had a null in this column, we had a null in this column. When there's a null in this column, we'll substitute the word grand, and then we'll, and that one was always total. That's the best You know, I could do on it, maybe there's some other things you can do, but you know, those are the best word combinations I could come up with and then improve on that. Clear for everyone? Yes, no?
I'm still a little fuzzy on how it equals one.
That's what it's doing, it's a function, and it's written into the function. It says, if I encounter a null in a column, I'm going to return a 1. I wrote it that way as the developer of this function. Okay, what I have is that grouping function is going to be applied. If we back up, okay, this grouping function is going to be it's applied to the name column. So every value in here, you know, if I look at the result set, okay, if I look at that result set here, what it does is in the name column, it's going to say, it's going to apply the function to that name column. If it's got a name in there, it returns a 0. It's got a name, it's got a name, it's got a name, so it returns a 0. Here it had a null. When it has a null in there, it's going to return a value of 1. Okay, that's so I can use it in some kind of a statement.
Well, I see how it's working. Without having seen that, I would have guessed you would say something like is null.
Now, is null that's a special thing. That's a different thing. We have an is null function, okay, and that means no entry. That's not what we've got here. That null, they could have picked another word, put in there, but they're using null. Is null is checking a bit on a field.
Right.
Okay, that's in regular records. I no longer got regular records here. This here is this is all aggregated stuff, and it's just the word null. Oh, wait a minute. Then let me finish up this question. So it's not no entry. It's just that they're using the word null. Okay, when I have the word null in there, and I have a function that's going to interrogate that, it says it's either null, word null, or it's got something else. If it's something else, it returns a 0. If it's null, it returns a 1. So I can, those are decision things I can do with, make a decision on.
Oh, I
See, so if it returns a 1, then I want to go ahead and make a substitution.
Well, could you say when grouping name equals null, then green?
No,
Doesn't do it?
doesn't do it.
So if you had said 0 instead of 1, then it would have changed everything that had a name to brand, for example.
Right, but it would have, but, yeah, you could do that, yeah.
Not that you would want to, but just
No,
that's how it works.
right, yeah, I'm following you.
There's no occasion that it would run, the grouping would run across a null or 1 because you do the sum first, and then the sum eliminates all nulls.
Well, the thing is you've already, by the time you've done the aggregation, you've already eliminated any null field.
Right.
I mean,
That's
it's
the
an
sum.
aggregated field, so it's not, you're not in a regular record set anymore.
So the only way it's going to get a null is through the roll-up.
That's right, and the null, and it's just a word,
Right. So
okay?
basically it's saying if
Yeah.
you've done the roll-up, if you're done with the
Right.
roll-up, that's all it's saying.
Yeah, right,
Pretty much.
okay. Okay. All right. Still confusion? There is, let's get them answered.
You can be zero with.
Yes, that's, it could be. You like to think that way. They said, we're gonna do it this way.
You
Now-
programmed it.
I think it would help.
You said that was something you put in, or was it?
No, that's all, the.
So is that something we'll learn about in chapter 8?
Yeah.
Does it compile it?
Chapter eight.
In fact, that's the way you can think of it, is that, what you're really saying is that if name has a null there, that's true, and that's usually what's used for one. Okay?
I think what's getting kind of confusing is what's done first. You know, if we could kind of maybe point that out on occasion, which statement is done first, backed by the processor.
Okay, looking at that query, one of the things you got to think of, when you look at these queries here, these are declarative statements, and so what you're thinking is, if you got a procedural mind thing, you're thinking it's doing them in some kind of order like that. No, this is a declarative statement, and what the compiler's doing, it's going to take this whole thing. There is multiple ways of which they can do this. They're going to do the optimal way, but there is things that they have to do first because we've got this kind of we've kind of dictated this. What gets done first was going to be the join. I've got to get things into one table. Okay. Because I'm going to be doing grouping, my logical view of it over there was it's going to sort by name and sort by category, but apparently they've got another way of doing things because it doesn't necessarily present it that way if I just leave the raw results. So that would be the first thing we'd do. Then it's going to, I'll do this part here. So I've sorted. You got your big sort, which will be by name, which is the store. Okay. Then you'd have sort by category within the store. Okay. Then you're going to do the sum. And the sum is going to be on the smallest category. But I've also got roll-up. Okay. After I've done all of these, like this, then it's going to go back and look at this bigger category and do the subtotal. So it's going to take that sum, and that sum, and do that. Take the next category and do that. And then it's after it's done that, it's going to take these and do the grand total. Okay. And that's exactly what you would do if you were, say, if this was just an array in a regular programming class, and say, oh, you guys write a program to do that. And the ordering would be, I'd have to sort everything, and I'd sort that, and I go down through that, and do those subtotals. Keep that track of that in a little table, and then it finally puts the presentation out there. So that's the ordering. And the way they present the subtotals is to put the nulls in the category columns, because I don't have subtotals on those columns. I got subtotals on the stores. Okay, then I got a grand total, and the only way I can present that is I'll just put the word null in the store total, or the store category, or the name column, and a null in the category column. And so what the grouping function is going to do, it's going to be done last. Because now I've got that presentation sitting out there. So that's why I'm working, the null is just a presentation name in that output. So now the grouping function is gonna go down through that and say, okay, well, I see the word null, you know, in the name column, I'm gonna put grand in there, which will only be at the last one. Pardon?
So it's just fluffy.
Yeah, yeah. And then where I have null in the category column, I'm gonna put the word total. And that's about as pretty as we're gonna be able to make it. It's not too bad. No. That would be, now, that's biological. Will it do it exactly that way? Maybe, maybe not. But it's pretty close, I think.
But the actual value in the column will be null, but it's just displayed as total.
Right.
The label, it's kind of a label.
It's a label, you know, because there's nothing, there's no name there for that. But it's not the same as no entry in a regular record. Okay? So you can't use the is null to check it or something like that. Is null, that function checks a bit on the field.
You can't say equals null because it's not null until after it's been.
Yeah, and it's not a value anyway. Good term. It's a label. They could have put something else in there. But they probably put null in there because that's probably not, you know, anything else could have potentially be a name for something. I mean, come up with something that, so null, you know, there's always somebody thinking, well, I like the word null, so that's a good name. Too bad, don't use it. You don't really mess yourself up in this case. We all good with that?
When it runs the when grouping name,
Yes.
I understand about, that's a Boolean statement, I mean Boolean condition,
Yes.
0, 1. What is it that equates the null to the 1? I mean, what makes null true? Why would null be true?
All it's doing, you know, it's not necessarily true or false. He was just using that
Null
comparison.
isn't true, it runs a comparison and says, if it's null, return true. And that's why the 1 is popping out as true. So it's not that null is true, it's running a comparison, and the result of that comparison is 0 or 1, or 1 is true.
Yeah, but why is the comparison returning?
That's how they.
It's arbitrary,
It's just
Richard.
built into it.
They could have said, oh, if it, you know, we could have made that 0. I've got to have some value in there or something I'm going to do to check with it.
Okay.
It's just a way of returning some way to check it.
I'm just wondering if there's any other significance to saying grouping name, if there's anything else that it's going to do in the system besides that.
The grouping function's only going to do one thing. It's going to look for the word null. If the word null is there, it's going to return a 1. If the word null is not there, it's going to return 0, and that's all it does.
That's all that grouping does?
That's all it does.
All right.
Nothing else.
That's kind of weird. All right.
And that's a SQL Server function. You get into Oracle, I think they got something else. It's strange.
So that's because there's no more, I guess, results that group. Is that why no triggers those numbers?
I'm sorry, ask your question again.
Yes. We asked
Okay, what, I think I think,
questions, so I'm just trying to figure out.
you're wondering, how does the nulls come in there?
Well, I think, from my interpretation is that once that group populate all the results, that null triggers the grand total, right? Whatever that group.
No, but I have to have a way, Now, if I came over here, I've got, if you look at this, I've got, here's my result set, and now I've got an extra injury claim. I'm gonna add a subtotal for this, but I need a record in there somewhere. Put that value in. So what I'll do is I'll use the name of the store, but it's not, has no category. So I gotta put something in there. So I'm gonna put the word null in there. It's arbitrary. They could have put something else, but null is a good name because that's not likely to be used as a legitimate name for anything else. So if we look at, if we go back, let's look at my result set here, okay? And if I look at the result set, I gotta back up. Where we at? Man, that stuff's really coming down. Okay, right here. That. So here, if I just did group by, I get these records right here, but now when I put the roll up in there, it says, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sum all of those up, but now I have to have a way of putting a row in there so that you can see this value. You'd like to see that, and you'd like to see it associated with Windrock, but what do I put in here? Well, they said, we don't know what you want in there, so what we're going to do is put the word null in there. Now, if you got a book category called null, too bad, buddy. Okay? But they probably assume that you're not going to do something like that. Okay? Same thing here. Now what I want to do is sum up all of these. I'm going to sum up all of those. Okay? And then I'll have a grand total. Well, what do I put there? Now we'll just leave it up to you. So what I'll do is I'll put a null there and put a null there, and you understand that now that I got a null there and a null there, that's a grand total. So we've set up our grouping function in a case statement so that we could spell that out with the word grand here and total here, and we had totals there. It'd be nice to have this called subtotal, but
when you run the sum function, you can't add letters. You can't add words.
that's true. It's going to be on numerics.
So since you can't add words, you have no value. You can't add B and C and get
Right. But this null here is not. It's just a placeholder, and it's a label. That's all it is.
It's raining.
You're only kidding, it is. Wow. Huh?
While you're waiting for the rain to stop, you can help us with the.
That umbrella ain't going to do you any good, probably. Okay. It's probably coming down. Sideways. Okay. All right. Okay, I think I'll give you an assignment, and then if you still got some, anybody's got other individual questions, then we can deal with them. I got some that looks like I've got all this, I'm ready to go. Okay. Okay.
So we're not gonna cover like grouping sets and all that?
I'm going to do something like that later. That's yeah. Good.
So don't worry about that.
No, don't worry about that right now. I think you got enough on your plate.
If somebody would like to help me, I could use it.
How did you get there?
Here?
Yeah, how did you get that
Oh.
database to
I
execute?
I created the new database, then I did the build table, I opened up build table, then I executed build table, and then I open up this file and execute it. That's all I
You
did.
open from here?
Yes, I went up here to open,
Uh-huh,
file,
uh-huh,
same thing, and then I started with that one,
okay.
double clicked on it, opened it up, executed it, went back in here, did a new one, populate, execute, same thing that you probably
Try
did.
again. I deleted everything from.
Oh, okay, all right. You don't want your assignment, are
Yes, I'm ready to go.
you? I found it, Hillary. Trying to give it away.
This one,
You're at the other assignment.
You said some of that stuff was from Oracle or something.
You did it here? Fine, open?
Yes,
Love it.
Fine?
yes.
That's on the.
Build table, do the build table first, and then execute it. Except you get your, yeah, that of course.
No, I think just.
Everybody, oh, that's because the DB does not exist.
So what should I do?
Take off the DB. Then I execute it. Well, you already executed it once, so it went through and did it.
Oh, okay,
But see
let
that,
me try it again.
yeah, that was the only thing that I did different, was I changed bookstore to match
Before you
bookstore
execute
before I
it.
executed
Oh,
it.
okay, okay, let me try it again. I understood what you said. Thank you. Let me delete this database.
You see, turn on the right. Yeah, we are.
Mhm.
We're done.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much.
There we go.
Yeah, so the same way I need to open the other
I have
one?
The
a
other
question
one,
about
yes.
number 7.
Okay,
It's-
And it also
says
has that
to be
use
formatted
statement.
as A50.
forget it. That's this was copied out of an Oracle book. That's Oracle, you know.
Don't worry about that.
Format it in any manner that makes sense to you.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Yes.
All right, let's look at the iDrive and see what we got. 'Cause I'm